Hello and welcome to episode 2 of RC Autopsy. Now if you're unfamiliar with this sort of series, this little series that I'm doing, it's basically where I take my broken RC parts like ESCs, motors and batteries, various gears, diffs and stuff like that. I take them apart, see what's broken, see what's wrong, and then try and fix them and see if it's actually worth fixing. In the last episode I actually took apart a battery and deemed that it was not really that easy to fix. It had loads of rust, loads of seepage of sort of liquid and material and stuff like that, so I decided just to chuck it away. It was only about £30 anyway, so it's not really worth me sort of trying to save it. I can just get a brand new one, and it lasted me 2 years anyway. So in this episode we're going to be looking at this. Now this is my very first upgraded motor. This was the original upgraded motor for the rally project. I was originally running just a standard Tamiya silver can, and I upgraded to a 27 turn. This is a Co-Rally, I think it's called Co-Rally. Yeah, you can see on the label there, Team Co-Rally. So I don't know whether they still exist, but this was a really good motor, really good upgrade. I had loads of torque with it, and this motor lasted me about 6 years with absolutely no maintenance at all. This motor is rebuildable. You get the standard. There's two types of motor, two types of brushed motor anyway. You get a sort of a closed bell, closed end type like this. This isn't rebuildable at all. This is just like a standard chuck in and then throw it away when it's broken. You can't rebuild it, you can't put new brushes in it or anything like that. So this is just sort of a super cheap motor, just like a spare really. However, these, you can actually replace the brushes inside, and I'll be talking about that in a minute when we take it apart. But yeah, you can actually rebuild these, and I'm sure on some sort of models you can adjust the timing and various stuff like that. So yeah, we're going to be taking this apart today in RC Autopsy, and I was running this in the rally project soon after the rebuild, the first rebuild, and it just stopped working. It was in the rain, it was in the wet, and it stopped working. I did check that the ESC was working and just plugged in another motor, and that motor works. So it was the motor that was the fault. It was this motor that was at fault, and yeah, it just stopped working. No idea why. Hence why I'm going to do this now and see what's actually wrong with it. So there are 4 screws on the top. Let's see if I can get this to focus. Yes, got one there. Got one there. You've got one under here, and then one just there. Now I'm assuming that these ones here are to take the brushes out, and these ones here to actually take the whole end off. So I think we're going to take the brushes out first and just have a look at them. Now I've never taken a brush off a motor before, so this is going to be a first for me, and we'll see what happens. I'm just going to take this apart. No idea what's going to happen, but we'll see. So that's the first one off there. You can see a little electrical connector there. So I assume, yep, that just comes off. And there's like a little spring clip just here. The light's getting in the way. So you're just going to undo that, and this clip just comes off like that. I assume that yes, the brushes just come out like that. So the brush is actually where the motor gets the motor turns. It gets its electrical power through these brushes. These make contact inside the motor, and that causes it to turn. So we're going to take the other one out. These brushes look pretty worn actually. See if I can get this to focus in. Oh, very bright. See, they're very worn. So it might just be a replace the brushes sort of job if I decide to do that. I mean, motors are so cheap these days. You don't really need to rebuild them. You can get a motor similar to this for about £10. So whether it's worth rebuilding, I don't know. But it's always interesting to take stuff apart and see how they work. So that's the second spring clip there. Just going to remove that, and then the brush comes out. So I have no idea what the original length of these brushes were, not a clue. See if it's going to focus on its own. Probably not. But yeah, so that's the 2 brushes out. They are one slightly smaller than the other. Don't know whether that's a problem or not. So that's the brushes out. So if I was to plug this in now, it definitely won't work. So now we're going to undo these 2 screws here and see what comes out. It might be... Oh, the other thing I considered was a seized bearing inside. Being as I was running in water, and I've been running it in water for a while beforehand, one of the bearings could have rusted and seized up when it was rotating, so that could be another possible cause for this motor not to be working. So I think that's unscrewed, so we should be able to take this whole end out. Oh, there we go. Magnets are holding it in. So that's one of the screws, and the other one probably won't fall out. You see, this is the top of the motor here, and the brushes would come into here. See if I can actually just show this to you. And go that way. You can see that the brushes actually come into there, like that. And as they wear down, they'll, with that spring, as they wear down, that spring will keep pushing them in, so there's constant contact with the spinning shaft in the middle here. So this is all new to me as well. This is the first time I've ever taken a motor apart, so this is all brand new sort of to me. That bearing is still spinning in there. You can see the bearing in the end there. It's probably not going to focus. Don't think it is. There we go. So that bearing there is actually spinning. Force that in. So that's not seized. So that's not one of the issues that I was having with it. So this is the actual inside of the motor here. So it's quite interesting. You can see the turns around there. I think they're called poles, 3 poles, and it's a 27 turn. So those actual copper wires are turned 27 times around these individual little poles here. I assume this is just sort of general. This is my sort of understanding. So whether that's going to come out, it should. Oh, magnets are holding it in. Yeah. So you've got magnets all the way around the outer edge there, or nearly all the way. So you've got one that side, and then one that side. Really strong magnets. And then this is where the electrical current goes through. And whether it's alternating or direct current, I don't know, but that will switch the magnetic poles inside of here and actually force this to spin around. So that's my understanding of how a motor works. Whether it's right, I don't know. But yeah, so that's quite interesting. It's got a load of rust around the outside. You can see on this sort of green edge here, there's a lot of rust on there, obviously from the water and from it sitting in a drawer for over a year. So to be honest, it looks like, see, let's have a look at this. There's another bearing in the bottom there, all the way down there. Let's see if that one spins. The magnets are really strong. Can't tell about that one. Yep, that bearing is still spinning as well. So yeah, so that bearing's working there, that bearing's working there, so it wasn't a seized bearing that was the issue. And to be honest, that all looks connected up. I mean, I don't know how it's meant to look, but it seems pretty connected. Can't see any sort of real problems with that. The magnets aren't really going to break. You know, there's a bit of green in there. Can you see? Just there. There's a bit of green. Don't know what that is. Some grass probably. But yeah, I assume just a good clean, and then some new brushes, and that should be rebuildable. So I might give it a go actually, and just see what happens. See if I can get it to work again. Give it a good clean. Put some new brushes in and see if it'll work. Because I did like this motor, and I would like to use it again. So yeah, that's very interesting. Never taken apart a motor before. Didn't know what to expect. But yeah, it's pretty simple, to be honest. So there's a washer stuck in there. But yeah, you can see all this residue here, all this dust that's caking up on my fingers. I assume the actual residue and the dust from the worn brushes. All that stuff there is caked in here. So I'm going to attempt to rebuild that motor actually. See if I can find some brushes that are similar or the same. Plop them in and see if I can get this motor to work again. So yeah, that's been episode 2 of RC. I forgot the name. RC Autopsy. It's only episode 2. Please forgive me. But yeah, that's the autopsy of a brushed motor. So thanks for watching. Hope this has helped you out. I hope this has given you a bit of advice on what to do if your brushed motor stops working. And I'm going to attempt to rebuild it at some point. Thanks for watching. If you want to check out the Facebook and Twitter pages, links are down below in the description. If you want to leave a comment, ask me questions, or give me any advice for where I can find brushes for this motor, it'll be much appreciated. And I'll see you next time on RC Projects. Goodbye.